Guys, it's Kate, and I hope you're having a wonderful day today. I'm back and I'm going to do another fluid watercolor. Or ink, watercolor, all that good stuff. So I've got my stylus, a pipette if I need one. I didn't use one last time. I'm going to use my bamboo dip pen again. I have an assortment of watercolor dyes from Artist Loft. I'm going to be doing vermilion, primary yellow, sepia, and I also have some magenta. This is more of an opaque acrylic ink, and then I also have white acrylic ink and some of this gold watercolor ink, which I'm really excited to try. So I'm going to use these, and I also have some Higgins black ink that I'm going to use with my dip pen. So I'm just going to set these aside, and these two. Now to start off, I am going to wet my paper really well. So I'm going to turn it over, do the back first. And we're getting it good and wet. And now I'm going to do the front. As soon as I get it kind of placed. My camera does not have anything to focus on since it's just this white paper, but as soon as we get started, it will come back into focus. Now I'm putting a lot of water on here to start with. I have my regular spray bottle. I've also got my little spritzer here. So I think we are good to go. So let me get some color on here so my camera stops going nuts. I'm going to start with the primary yellow. And I have really enjoyed using these. They're actually on clearance right now at Michael's. And I picked up several colors because they've been so much fun to use. So I've got some yellow on here. I am going to spritz this, get that to spread out. And first I'm going to kind of let gravity work and do some tilting with this to get it to spread around the paper. And I got the light on here. So now let's go into this vermilion. And I thought using some of these fun colors would be nice. And I just love how they spread out. Now I've got some areas where it's not really spreading much. So I'm just going to hit them with a spritz. And then I can also tilt this. Oh, that looks gorgeous. It almost reminds me of fire. All right. Now, I want to come in with some of this sepia. And it's a nice dark color. And I'm just going to follow it around some of these spots here. And this is going to dry much different than we see it now. And that's one of the sort of surprises. But I love this brown. I'm going to do some more tilting and just let this kind of blend in and do its thing. I love that over the yellow. That's really gorgeous. So I'm going to see, I really want to just experiment how some of this looks. So like if I put yellow back in this, it kind of pushes that sepia aside a little bit. And then I'm going to come in with this red acrylic ink. And this is a lot more opaque, I think. And it kind of pushes things aside even more. And I love that. This is so fun to play with. Okay. Now let's see how it looks with a little bit of white. Let's try a drop. Oh, it's so gorgeous. Yes, I love this. Okay, so let's see with my pipette. I wonder if I can kind of soak up some of this moisture and kind of move it around a little bit. Whoops, I don't really want bubbles. Maybe some here. And it kind of pulls it. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Now I can also grab a paper towel, and if I have excess around the edge, I can soak a little of that up, but I do like how fluid it is. But I can kind of keep that to the side. Let it spread a little. Whoop. Don't want to do that. I'll put that aside. Maybe move this over. And now I think I'd like to try using some of this Aquafine Gold. So this is going to give us some nice metallics. So I'm going to put one in the center of each of those white areas, but I might also add a little bit to the outside here. Just like this. And this is all metallic, and so that will kind of spread out, I think, and add some interest. And it's going to be kind of fun to see how everything dries. So now I am going to get into my ink. And add some of this. And I'm just going to add it to some of these areas that are already kind of dark with that sepia color. Just like that. Now, I want to try something. I have my alcohol that I like to use with my watercolor. I wonder how it will react. I'm going to do a couple of little splashes on here. Now it's still very, very wet, so I have no idea how this will dry, but it looks pretty cool when you drop it on here. And maybe some of these little marks will stay. I love it's like there's a lot of depth there. And look at that, it like repels the ink and the watercolor. I think that looks really neat. All right, I think we're ready to let this dry. So let's see what we get. This takes quite a while to dry, so I'm really excited to see what it looks like at the end. But I think it's going to be really neat, whatever it is. So I hope that you will join me when I come back. I'll see you soon. All right, I am back and I think that this dried beautifully. And you can see that gold ink we have on there sparkling and it spread out a bit. I think this looks fabulous and it's so abstract. You can also see where my alcohol left those little droplets behind, and that's a really cool effect too. So I'm going to do a couple of things on here just to add a few other little touches. So I grabbed some black ink and also some black ink. This is the same magenta. This is that red ink that we used on the bottom layer. And I also grabbed a couple of my favorite stencils. And I think I'm going to start with this one. And I'm going to put it over some of the darker areas to deepen them a little bit more. So I'm going to grab my ink pad right here and my blending brush. Get situated. So I'm going to set my stencil down, but I'm going to really just concentrate on putting this pattern over the areas that are already dark. So there's not going to be a huge contrast, but there will be some. So I'm going to get some of this ink right here and kind of start slow and just kind of be careful where I am going. And then I'm going to slowly bring it out and get some of this pattern down. Now I'm going to give it a quick lift, and I like that. It's just very subtle. I'm going to add just a little bit more ink and deepen it a bit. And then I'm also going to bring it in up here. And that looks great. So now I'm going to bring it over this way. And again, I'm just going to be careful where I am going. And I'm going to hold this up just so you can see it. It's just in a couple of the dark spots, or all of the dark spots really, but it doesn't stick out too much. Now I did have it a little bit over some of my light areas where my brush just kind of went, but that's okay as long as I mostly stayed off of it. I like how this looks. So next I'm going to grab the circles, and I'm going to do something similar. I shouldn't have put my ink away just yet. And this I'm going to go over very lightly into some of these sort of lighter areas, just like that. And this will kind of reinforce a little bit of those other circles that we have. I'm going to get a little more ink here. This will reinforce those other circles we have from the alcohol. And I'm going to take this right to the edge of the page. And you can just see a little bit of that. Okay, now we're going to be done with the stencils. Now I also have my watercolor palette. And I'm going to grab one of my little sauce cups because I'm going to use a little bit of this ink first. I'm going to grab a little tiny brush and add a couple of drops. I don't need a lot. I'm just going to deepen some of these red areas. So I'm going to dip into my water and blot my brush a little bit. And I'm going to come in here and just add some color. Now I'm going to do like a little bit of dotting just with the very tip of my brush, almost like stippling or something like that, just to add a little bit of texture to the edge of this metallic ink. And I'm kind of following along with the marks that are already in here. And there's even some of these tiny marks from where the paint kind of settled, and I'm just following those a little bit and adding that texture in there and just kind of bringing it out so it draws the eye. Okay, I'm going to finish there with the red, and I really love that, how that looks so far. So what I'm going to do next is dip in to this black ink, add a little bit of darkness here. And I'm being gentle with my marks, just like with the red. So I'm just following some of these natural curves to add some more contrast. And this is where we had that sepia and also some of the black ink in the original painting. And I'm just kind of enhancing that contrast. And what I might also do is grab my brush and see about dragging a little bit of this out. And I like that. That looks pretty good. Okay. I'm going to keep going with that and just get it kind of softened a little bit on some of these edges. And I'm just blotting my brush pretty well and then just dampening my paper and letting this ink kind of flow outward into these dark shapes. That way it's not quite so jarring. And I've done this previously on some of my videos where I did it with watercolor, but I haven't really done it with ink. But I love that sort of dragging technique where you have one hard edge and then you can kind of soften the outside edge. And it's a really pretty effect, I think. Now what I'm going to do is use my glass dip pen, which has a much finer point than the bamboo. And I'm just going to lightly trace a few of these stencil lines. And boy, I kind of like using the glass pen because look, one dip in water, that is clean. Well, I guess I'm not going to use the watercolor because I'm actually pretty happy with how this looks right now, and I don't think I want to add any more. I could probably add things all day long, but I just want to keep this fairly simple. But I'm going to hold this up so you can see the close-up. I really like the softness of the stencils in the background. I think that looks pretty cool. And this was just a lot of fun. And it's fun kind of experimenting with the marks and stuff that you get afterward. But this is such an interesting painting, and it's just how it dried, and it's just really cool. You could make little cards and tags and all sorts of things with this, but let me know if you like this, because I really would like to do more videos with these, but I'm not sure if it's something that everybody really wants to see that often. So let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you have any ideas that maybe I can post on here on my channel. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and until next time, keep creating. Bye!